YouTube, what is going on? Rich here, and welcome back to part 2 in the manager movements experiment. If you haven't seen part 1, I will leave a link to that video in the description below. Go and check it out before you watch this, guys. I would highly recommend it. So just a recap for people who either don't want to watch it or who have just come straight to this video. In a recap, we have taken 5 of the best managers in football at the moment. So we've taken Pep Guardiola, Claudio Ranieri, Jurgen Klopp, Diego Simeone and Luis Enrique. And we have assigned them to the top 5 teams that finished in the Vanarama National this season. So that is Cheltenham Town, Grimsby Town, Dover Athletic, Braintree Town and Forest Green Rovers. So, again, as a quick recap, let's just have a little look at who we put where. So, Cheltenham Town is now being managed by Pep Guardiola. We've got Grimsby Town, who are going to be managed by Claudio Ranieri. We've got Dover Athletic, who are going to be managed by Jurgen Klopp. We've got Braintree Town, who are going to be managed by Diego Simeone. And we have got Forest Green Rovers, who are going to be managed by Luis Enrique. So, what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to sim over, I think we'll sim over 2 seasons in this episode. And we're going to see who is actually the best manager, so that we know all these managers, they can cut it at the highest level, but who can cut it at the lowest? That is what we're going to find out today. Let me know in the comments, before I sim through, who you think is going to be the first one to be sacked. Who do you think will do the best? I'll be definitely interested to know your thoughts, guys. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's sim on 1 season and see how these teams and how these managers get on. Right, guys, so we are now at the end of the first season. It's the 31st of May 2016. We are going to check out the league table for the Vanarama National, and we're going to see who has done what. So the teams that we need to look out for: Cheltenham Town, Grimsby Town, Dover Athletic, Braintree Town and Forest Green Rovers. And we will review each team and see what sort of a season they have had. Right, so looking at the Vanarama National League, here it is. We don't want to look... Ooh, the playoff final, Grimsby and Forest Green. They were 2 teams that are in the pot. So, this is the Vanarama National League, the stats for the season. So let's have a look. Let's go from the bottom. So we're looking for Cheltenham, Grimsby, Dover, Braintree or Forest Green. Braintree finished in 20th position. Let's review them first. Let's have a look and see if Diego Simeone is still in charge of Braintree Town. He isn't. David Connolly is now the manager of Braintree. So let's have a look at what has happened there. So if I go into history and then managers, we can see here that Diego Simeone was sacked after just 178 days in the job. He was sacked on Boxing Day. So what we'll do with Braintree Town, let's first have a look at the transfers. So we'll have a look at their transfer history, see who he brought in. It doesn't look as though he brought 1 player in on a free transfer, Shane Lewis. So Diego Simeone brought this guy in. He's a goalkeeper, and he conceded 42 goals in 28 games. That is the only player that Diego Simeone brought in, and then the new manager brought in all these players. So Diego Simeone was sacked on the 26th of December. So let's have a look at the schedule and see what kind of a season they had. So the Vanarama National. So Simeone was sacked after the Lewis... No, not after the Lewis game at all. That's a lie. He was sacked after the away defeat to Boreham Wood in the Vanarama National. And just looking at their results, they had quite a lot of draws. The draws are jumping out at me. The odd win, the win in the FA Cup against Lewis, who would have been a couple of divisions below at that point. Far too many draws with the odd win scattered in there. They didn't have a good start to the season. They didn't win for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. It took them 8 games to win. And then when he was sacked, in December, the team, they picked up a little bit, but they had a poor ending to the season. So they were probably hovering around sort of maybe mid to lower mid-table at this stage, and then they've really gone on a bit of a downward spiral with all these draws. But only one defeat there in their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One defeat in 11 games as the end of the season went on. So the first manager is out of the running already. Diego Simeone at Braintree is gone. We're down to 4 teams and we're down to 4 managers. So let's have another little look at the Vanarama National League and see who is next. So Cheltenham, Grimsby, Dover and Forest Green are left. So we've got Dover Athletic. Okay, so Dover Athletic finished in 7th, who are managed by Jurgen Klopp. They're still managed by Jurgen Klopp, so he has kept his job. So 7th in the National League for Dover, which isn't too bad, I don't think. So 46 games, won 21, drew 8, and lost 17. Not too bad a season for them at all. Let's first of all have a look at the transfers that Klopp's brought in. So he's brought in quite a few players. Akintunde from Cambridge, Kevin Lisby, the 37-year-old he's brought in, who's got good finishing. He didn't really play many games for them though. He only played 4 games. Didn't score in the league. Didn't score any goals. But he's not spent any money, so he's not done too bad. He did get £23,000 for Tyrone Sterling. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players he's brought in. He's got this guy in from QPR on loan, the winger, 19 years old. So he's brought through a bit of youth and he's brought through some experience, and he's mixed them up with loans and with free signings as well. So not a bad job that Jurgen Klopp has done at Dover. So he stays in the job. The next team that we're in there. So we've got Grimsby, Cheltenham and Forest Green left, and they occupied the top 3 places. So good season. So first of all, let's have a look at Grimsby Town, managed by Claudio Ranieri, who is still the manager there, and he's done a very, very decent job. Actually, I don't know if I'd expect Grimsby to have been promoted up to the next league. I don't know what their objectives were for the season. But again, we'll have a little look at his transfers, see who he's brought in. So again, he's not spent any money, but he's brought in quite a lot of players. He's raided Wolves, he's raided Walsall as well. I'm just seeing if there's any players that stand out to me that I recognise. But he's not sold anyone, so largely he's kept all his players and brought in a little bit of extra quality. He's raided the free transfer market. Ashley Harris looks quite a decent player actually, striker for them. Got 5 goals in 11 games in the Vanarama National. Another striker that he's brought in as well, 5 goal. What did he get? He didn't play at all in the Vanarama National. Ryan McKinnon, he brought in the centre back. Doesn't look too bad, decent heading and decent tackling, exactly what you want in the conference. So Grimsby have done alright. And then in second place we had Forest Green Rovers, who are managed by Luis Enrique. Now they won the playoff final, didn't they? Let's just have a quick look at their schedule. They had a very, very good season, and they beat Wrexham in the playoff semi-final, and they beat Grimsby Town 2-0 in that playoff final. Second half goals from Darren Carter and Charlie Clough sealing the deal for them. But Forest Green Rovers, Luis Enrique, like we can see, is still in charge. Let's see who he brought in. Let's have a look. Transfer history. So he's bought a lot of players. He's only lost 1 player on loan. But he's done a fairly good job. He's brought in Ricky Ravenhill in central midfield. He's got some decent mental stats. 35 years old now, so he's gone for a bit of experience there. He'll have gone for some youth as well. So this guy, the striker Ryan Manning, he brought in, didn't actually play for the team. But he's gone for like players that are on loan that are in these upper divisions. I suspect that they will all be, kind of youth players, and he's looking to get a bit of experience in with those guys. But he's done well. He has done very, very well indeed as Luis Enrique at Forest Green Rovers. So that means that the winners of the league were Cheltenham Town. They won it by 10 points, an absolute canter. So Pep Guardiola in charge at Cheltenham, who finished first in the league. Let's have a look at who they brought in. They lost a lot of players. Oh, these are all loans. They've loaned a lot of players out, but they've brought quite a few loans in as well. They've brought the striker in here from Brighton, 20 years old. Quite a good prospect. He's got 7 goals in 25 appearances. Not too bad at all. He's brought a player in from Sunderland, central midfielder. And he's got a couple of free transfers in as well. Jasper Johns on the left, 21 years old. Only played 1 game for the club though. I'm struggling to see where, of the players that some of these managers are bringing in, they don't tend to play that many games for the club. He's got this guy in as well, the centre-back, played 13 games, only 22 years old. So Pep Guardiola is bringing in players of little experience, but look as though they've got some decent prospects. Just looking through the fixtures of Cheltenham Town, they've had a very good season, not losing many games at all. They had a little sticky patch around October time here, but 2 of those games were in the FA Cup against Torquay United. But aside from that, they've gone through a patch here between March and April, so about a month where they lost a little bit of form. If they'd have won some of these games, they already won the league by 10 points, but they would have won it by so many more. So guys, that's the first season over. 4 teams still left. So Diego Simeone got the sack as Braintree manager. So we've got these 4 teams left: Cheltenham, Grimsby, Dover and Forest Green. Pep Guardiola, Claudio Ranieri, Jurgen Klopp and Luis Enrique are still standing. We'll do 1 more season. We'll sim on 1 more year and see what the results are. So we've got Cheltenham and we've got Forest Green, who are now going to be in League 2. Grimsby Town and Dover Athletic are still sticking it out in the Vanarama Conference. So let's sim 1 more year and see how they get on. Right guys, so here we are at the end of Season 2. So let's see how these managers have performed in their second season. We're going to start in the Vanarama National and see what's happening in there. So let's have a little look at the league table. So we're looking for Grimsby Town and we're looking for Dover Athletic. So where are Dover? Where are they? Dover Athletic finished 12th, so they had a worse season than what they did last year, where they finished 7th. And Chris Kinnear, so Dover Athletic, Jurgen Klopp has gone. He is no longer the manager of Dover Athletic. Chris Kinnear is in now. So let's have a look at what happened with Jurgen Klopp. He got the sack. He was sacked on the 18th of October. So let's have a little look at the schedule and see what happened there. So they didn't have a great start to the season. He was sacked after the 2-0 defeat to Bromley. So he only won 4 games at the start of the season. Lots of defeats, lots of draws. Time was up for Jurgen Klopp, and he is the second manager that has now been sacked. So there's only 3 left: Grimsby, Cheltenham, Forest Green, Claudio Ranieri, Pep Guardiola and Luis Enrique. So if we go back to the Vanarama National League, I can see that Grimsby finished 2nd in the league. They've also got that green bar on them as well, which means that they were promoted to the next to League 2. But Claudio Ranieri isn't in charge anymore. It's Chris Kiwomya. So Chris Kiwomya's got them promoted. Let's have a look at the manager history. Did they have a bad start? Oh, Claudio Ranieri retired. He retired at the end of last season, so he would have been the second manager to go. So he wasn't sacked, but he did retire. So Claudio Ranieri's gone, guys. There's only 2 teams left in this experiment already. Cheltenham Town and Forest Green Rovers. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to League 2 and see what's happening in here. So we're looking for Forest Green Rovers, who finished bottom of the league. Luis Enrique in charge. Is he going to be in charge though? That's going to be the question. He's not in charge. Lee Sinnott is the man. that's in charge. Let's have a look at what happened with Luis Enrique. So Luis Enrique was sacked. He was sacked on the 18th of March 2017 after 1 year, 260 days in charge. If I have a look at the schedule, if we go all the way to March, so he was sacked after, looks like it was after the Cheltenham game that Luis Enrique left, and they didn't have a bad season. Sorry, they didn't have a good season. They had an awful season. Not many wins, fair few draws, lots and lots of defeats. Forest Green 24th in League Two, and Luis Enrique is gone. There's one manager left after 2 seasons. So we had 4 left at the end of the first season, and at the end of the second season, it looks as though there's only one standing. But is there one standing? Let's have a look at Cheltenham. Cheltenham finished 16th. Is Pep Guardiola still the manager at Cheltenham Town? Yes, he is. Thank goodness for that. So Pep Guardiola, he's not had a bad year. Let's have a look at his transfers. Wow, look at all these. Oh, but this covers both seasons, doesn't it? This covers both. This covers actually 16, 17. Look at all these transfers. He's reshaped the club completely. Wow, but he hasn't spent a penny. So he's got lots of loans, lots of free transfers. As expected, they wouldn't have that money. Let's have a quick look at the senior squad schedule. So they've had a mixed bag of a season, really. They've gone on little runs where they've done all right. So like here, they've had a few victories, but here they've had a few defeats as well. So Pep Guardiola is the only survivor of 2 seasons at lower league football. So guys, I think this concludes this experiment. And as you can see, the best managers in the world, they can cut it at the top level, but according to Football Manager, they can't necessarily cut it at the bottom. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do drop a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe to the FM Scout YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Also, if you've enjoyed it, I will leave the details to my YouTube channel, RichOnTwitch_TV. I will leave that in the description. Make sure you head over there and drop a sub as well. But until next time, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.